What's up, everyone? Welcome to Mongols. This is our reaction show where we're going to break down everything that we saw when the Hounds unfortunately dropped. Whoa, we keep going. When the Hounds unfortunately dropped 3 points in Tampa Bay. I am Mike Sparks. Joining me for this one is Steve Mattiace and Josh Brokaw. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me this evening on, discuss a game which I'm sure we're not all looking forward to discussing. First, Josh, I saw you were out hitting all the burrows with the misses this weekend. What was going on?
Yeah, we went to, first on Saturday morning, my borough, Bellevue, was having like a little food thing. Like they had a bunch of local restaurants set up tents in a parking lot, and it was kind of like a sampling of all the different restaurants. That was kind of fun. It was in the parking lot of where Lincoln Ave Brewery is going to be moving to. So it was also kind of fun to be poking them for information. Like, so when's it going to open up? When's it it's a bigger location and it's going to be pretty cool. So we did that. That was fun. But then we, today on Sunday, we went to Polish Hill for their Arts Fest.
Nice.
And haluski and pierogies. And yeah, it was great. So nice. the food alone was worth it, but it was cool to, support local arts. It was much more eclectic and kind of felt more local than the Arts Fest I've gone to in the past, where it kind of feels like people are coming in from all over the country to show at the Arts Fest. It's a little bit more mainstream feeling. This was definitely much more like DIY type art everywhere, so it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, you gotta let me know next time that's happening. As a I'm not a true Polak, but my family originates in Poland. Love all that sorts of food. And I love the small town feel of stuff like that. We talk a lot about Ligonier has their Fort Ligonier days, and it's just gotten so big and commercial. At one point, it was just like that, where literally vendors would just put tables out and people just roam around. And now it's gotten so big that everyone around here just laments it happening. It's much more for tourists. But the local stuff, although if I come in, does that then mean that it's no longer that local? Because I'm
just saying, I love the Ligonier days hipster in you just now. I was there before it was cool. Before it got too corporate.
I don't want to shoot my own horn, but yeah. Steve, how was your weekend?
Fine. Yesterday was catching up on pickles and tomato jam. So 20 quarts of pickles and was it 7.5 pints of tomato jam that I made yesterday. Okay. And then today enjoyed another outdoor activity that was not biking. So one of the things, I think I've talked about this in the past, but doing the North Country Trail 100-mile challenge this year. I just hike 100 miles on the North Country Trail. So it's been a while since I've done that. So started up in Enon Valley. It's central Beaver County, kind of near Wampum, north of Beaver Falls, and did about 5 miles today. So just, checking those miles off as I go. So nice to be out. And there's a place up there, Forbush, which is seasonal soft serve. They make the ice cream there. So it's not like soft serve where you pour it out of the big commercial thing, right? But it's softer. And it's my favorite ice cream. If you've never been, you're ever up in Shenango Township, it is totally worth it. Cash only and closing for the season next Sunday. So it's I had to get up there one more time. So great weekend, great day, food and hiking.
That's awesome. What do you use tomato jam for? You're the first person that has used
Mike, I'm sending you some
for me. I'm curious. What do you use it for?
I love it just on a really good sourdough toast with a little bit of butter and some tomato jam. It also is really good crackers and cream cheese and tomato jam. Anything you would think of a more boutique jam, like a fig jam or something like that. It works really well for. It's also really great on a egg breakfast burrito or egg sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that sounds good. Good. This weekend we had a sub sale for the scouts on Saturday morning, and I took great pleasure in trying. I realized that I was distracting drivers, so I was like, maybe I shouldn't do that. But I was trying to get them to stop. So one of the big things, this was the first time the scouts had ever done it. In the past, the football team does it like they'll do like multiple times a year. So people just expect them to do. So I would literally see people at an intersection, and I would hold a sub like a football, and I'd like point at them and then drop back, and as they're driving past, pretend like I'm going to throw it to them. Well, a lot of people would like laugh and like look at me, and it just now dawned on me that they're not. They're looking at me pretending to throw this sub at them through their window. But we had a really good time. We were at a couple different places in town. Everyone was super supportive of it. So it's definitely something we're going to do again. The subs are really good too. So yeah, it was a lot.
Do you have somebody like that donates them, or do you guys make them yourselves? Like, what's the?
No, so we used to make them ourselves, but there's a group, Mariana's, who they are associated with now. Oh, I'm going to catch so much crap for this. There's a deli closer to Pittsburgh that like actually owns Mariana's, but it's such a sweet deal. They literally they pull up a truck. All of the hoagie, all the subs are already made. They're already wrapped. We don't have to do a thing. We just show up and sell them. And like, that's it. You could do like pre-sale stuff too. But yeah, if anybody's looking for a really good fundraiser, Mariana subs, really, really good. The subs are amazing. They last for a really long time. Check it out.
Nice. Maybe
we'll get them to sponsor the show. We'll see. Unfortunately, that was sort of where the fun ended yesterday, guys. We do need to talk about this game. So the Rowdies 2, Riverhounds 1. Our goal came from Jackson Walty. This was only our second loss all season, where we had less than 47% possession. We had 43% possession. I'm going to stop talking about this right now. I want to get your guys' impressions. Josh, give me a thought from this one.
I guess the big takeaway here is holding leads is not our strong suit as of late. Because this is another situation where we had the lead and we're holding it. At least it didn't happen in like the 90th minute, but we definitely dropped this lead halfway through the second half. And then they got the second goal. Like, what was the minute for the second goal? The 90th.
88th. Yeah, it was close. Yeah.
So
officially 90.1, 90 plus 1 is what it was recorded as. Yeah.
It's just one of those situations where I could have been, disappointed, but okay with a point coming out of there after having the lead. But I would have been okay with that. But it was the fact that we got nothing out of this game when I thought we really should have.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was one of those ones where we had talked about win at home, draw on the road. So I'm with you. I would have been okay with a draw. I think that. Well, Steve, go ahead. I'm going to. I have lots of thoughts. I want you guys to talk for a bit.
I'm going to push kind of similar to Josh's point, but specifically not just that we can't hold the lead, but it seems like there are numerous times where we don't know how to manage a game, even when the result has been positive towards the end of a game or when we have a lead. One of the positives was it didn't seem like the Hounds gave up. We were looking for a second goal. It didn't come. However, there were so many times where we let them play in our defensive third and did nothing other than boot the ball up to half field, and then they would just bring it right back to our defensive third. And for me, that's a big, big problem. And I don't think that that's a player issue. To me, that's a coaching issue and a tactical issue that Bob needs to be doing something different with these guys to say, hey, you get that ball, we need to have somebody going up the wing. We need to get the ball to them instead of just booting it to somebody in the center of the field that's not going to win the ball anyway, because there's 4 other guys from the opposing team that are there to win that ball.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt like right before their first goal came, we were all sort of chatting in the Mongol Slack, and that was the story. Was just like we gotta keep possession somehow. I think it was like the 70th minute around there. I was like, this is way too early for us to just be trying to clear the ball and see the game out. You could tell the guys were tired, which I get it. Like, it was warm, it was muggy, it was Florida. The field looked like it was crap. The ref wasn't doing us any favors, but it felt rough. Like it's tough. I think if we had gone up against a team where it was like, you know what, this team played better than we did, we knew the streak was going to come to an end at some point, it would be a much easier pill to swallow. That didn't feel like the case to me. I don't know how you guys felt. It it felt like Tampa's, 2 goals were kind of lucky and kind of fluky, and they just didn't. They gave us a run for our money in this game, but I know after seeing the Hounds in the past 10 games that we have a level to play above this, and we just weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it was more disappointment. I don't know. Is that too drastic, Josh?
It definitely felt like we, looking at the Hounds, the fitness felt weird. Like everything just fell off. At the very beginning, Mertz misses a chance on an open net. Like it was to him, there was no one there. He could have totally, and it just whiffed on that. And it was stuff like that. And like, I don't want to like give excuses for them because it was definitely, it's on them to figure that out because they're both playing on the same field. But that field did look like crap. Like there was moments where I felt the ball was like just stopping way too fast. Every time they would just run, you would just see the pitch like kind of lifting underneath them and like leaving divots as they ran across the field. So it was definitely not the best conditions, but they were both playing in those conditions, and so there's no excuse there.
Yeah. I think the first goal that Tampa scored was a good goal, but it came both on the heels of the Hounds not doing anything to hold the possession, but also a giveaway in the defensive third, right? And so it's one of those goals that, despite the nice finish, the way that play developed could have kept that from even happening. And similar in the second one. Yeah, it wasn't as pretty of a goal, but it went in the back of the net. There was a mistake in terms of the deflection from Rovey, who had just come on. Talk about subs not doing what we need them to do. And I don't blame Rovey for that in that sense, right? Like he was scrambling after the ball, but I'm going to pick on Bob at some point tonight for that as well. But also another ball where we had the chance to take the ball, dribble a little bit out of our third, and instead of doing that, we're just pinging it back to a Tampa Bay midfielder to get that ball back into our box.
Yeah. Their first goal, Arteaga, I said it at the time. Kudos to him. If you go back and watch the goal, it was a nice goal. Like he did a little heel flick, like as he was running past the ball. I think our argument at that time was, I think it's questionable whether or not he should have still been on the field at that point. He already had a yellow and he had been manhandling Biasi all night. At one point, he literally just ran him from behind and 2-hand shoved him to the ground. And the ref gave us the call, but there was nothing else with it. It was just like, come on, man. So, it just feels like this is just one big missed opportunity, I guess.
That first goal, Walter getting that first goal. Was it Burton was the assist, which brings them up to 2 assists and 1 goal in 2 games. So that's a pretty good stat right there.
Did you catch Jesse on camera as soon as they scored?
Yeah.
We're giving him crap about it on Discord. Just like completely missing it. I like to think he saw it, but I don't know. He was looking down at his phone. Get off your phone, Jesse. That's. But yeah, so it was funny. I'm trying to think of positives here. Like I guess I do think that was a good goal. In the fact that it was those two, meeting up, I think it's also kind of cool just because of their history.
Yeah. I think to your point about positives, we were getting into good positions. So, you referenced the Mertz chance early on. There were a couple of times that Griffin had some shots that he kind of skied them, but he was in position. Kenny had a couple chances. The one header that just went over the bar towards the end. So we're getting in good positions. It's just we couldn't get them to fall the way that we needed them to fall on this night.
I mean, we outshot Tampa Bay 11-13. So but I think the difference there is we had more shots. We didn't have anywhere near the same quality of shots. Even some of the saves that Dick had to make were challenging saves, right? I don't think that we had to, like that far had to work very hard against us.
Yeah. Yeah, and I even put in my notes, after we got the first goal, we went into halftime. At that point, I was feeling confident. I think I even told you guys, I was like, this game's over. Like, we're going to shut it down. I was not thinking that we would just sort of crumble the way that we did. And again, I don't know why. To me, the story of the game, or at least the story of the second half, it seemed like exhaustion. Like, you could tell the kits were sticking to the guys like they were just in a wet t-shirt contest and they just look gassed. And that's a case too where you look at the bench, and I was trying to think of like, okay, especially with the defense and all the pressure, the only guy we didn't get in was Pat Hogan, really. So this isn't even like we had other guys that we took with us that we could have put in on defense. So
but I mean, to kind of counter that a little bit, look at the times we brought some of those players in. Like Rovey came in on the 90th minute. Dean came on in the 90th. 84th was Forbes. That's pretty darn late. That's, if they're looking gas before the 70th minute, before that goal even happened, to have them sit on the sidelines and not come in until that late, that's rough.
Yeah. I mean, you already mentioned the conditions on the field. I think there's no better image of those conditions than when Osamanu was on the ground. It looked like a muscle strain or cramp or something. But I mean, it looked like he had just jumped in a swimming pool. That's how wet that field was. And still, Bob doesn't make a sub until the 72nd minute. And then he makes another sub at the 84th minute, and then he makes another sub in the 90th minute, right? And so uses all 5 subs. But at that point, I'm just like, I don't know that this game looks the way it does if we're using our subs better and making some subs that I think tactically just kind of didn't make sense at that point in the game. I don't know. Like, I just like, again, where is Pat Hogan this game? Best defender on the team, and he doesn't even make it in as a sub, much less in the 11. I find that like I get that the guys played well the week before, but when you've got a guy of his quality, why is he not starting?
Was EJ and Sample already lined up to come in before the goal happened, or did the goal happen and then he decided to put EJ and Sample in? Because I can't remember. I was trying to like scroll through the highlights or anything like that, and I just didn't get a chance to check.
I don't remember. I do remember Sample was upset because there was something delaying them getting on. Like when it finally came time, he was like gesturing to the ref, like, oh, like there's another thing, like, we're trying to get in, and they were keeping them from getting on the field.
So, none of that matters that much because they should have came in way before that. Like, I think the same time, like around the 60th minute or something like that we saw the subs from Tampa. Those should have been, the same time our guys were coming in. But just in general, I'm curious to know if it was a reaction to the goal or if it was, a plan.
Yeah. Just in general, I mean, we could sort of nitpick this game apart, but we've talked about the importance of sort of picking up these 3 points. Justin was talking about really wanting to get the 3 points this week because we're off next week. So, we're going to talk about how the rest of the games fell this weekend as well. Now we basically have to sit back and watch other teams pick up points around us while we're off for a week. And basically we're likely going to come back in 2 weeks in a hole that we're going to have to dig ourselves back out of in the last 5 games. Hey, Josh, are you feeling like where are you on the spectrum of like, oh crap, this is awful, to like, we're fine, like everything's fine, like we're somewhere in the middle there?
It is somewhere in the middle. I do think it's going to be very hard to stop the gloom and doom reactions after next week, being off a week and seeing all those, we could be as far down as like I think 11th or something like that. Like we could be second to last or somewhere around there. Like it's very possible that it's going to look like a pretty big, hole to dig out of. Now, with that said, I do think there is still hope. And I don't think I think we said last time that, draw away, win at home should still do it for us.
Mhm.
And I think I even said, like, I think we're going to get 2 wins, 1 away. And it's, so it's going to help us not need to have all wins at home and all draws away. Because I think one of those away games is against, who was it? Miami or something like that? Or not Miami. Is it Miami that's away?
Yeah.
So, like, that's an away game that we should be getting 3, not 2, or not 1.
Mhm.
So I'm not completely gloom and doom, but I'm definitely feeling like the results did not go our way across the league last night either. Like, it's not just that we lost; it's that all the people we wanted to lose didn't lose.
Yeah.
Like, all the people around us, I have to pull it up, but yeah, most of them did not go our way. I think only Rhode Island went our way.
On a scale
Birmingham.
of 1 to 10.
Against Loudon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident, 10 being most confident, 1 being not at all, how confident are you that we still make the playoffs?
I'm looking at 6. It's like 50-50 right now almost. Like, I'm being optimistic with a 50-50 chance.
Yeah. Steve, how are you feeling about things?
I don't think we make it at this point. I'm giving it a 3.
Ooh.
That's fair. I mean, I can completely understand. Like, I could have gone either way with that, but yeah, I get it.
Explain the 3, Steve.
So there's a really probable situation where we go into our next game without being able to catch the team in 8th place, regardless of what we do, right? That we need results from other people to go our way. And looking at our schedule, I mean, Birmingham is still going to be a tough game. I'm not taking that for granted. I'm definitely not taking Charleston for granted. Loudon has been playing pretty well. They've been beating good teams as well. And so right there, of the remaining 5 games, 3 of those games, 2 are away, right? Or 2 are at home, 1 is away. I'm just not convinced we're getting 7 points out of that. And at this stage, we need more than 2 points a game, I think, to stay level with these teams. And so I just think our work is cut out for us and we have to get help elsewhere. And that doesn't inspire a lot of hope that we make the playoffs for me, because we've shown that we're inconsistent this year. I've said it before, we can beat the best teams in this league, but I also would not be shocked to see this team give up points against Miami because of the inconsistency.
Right. And we just saw, playing in Florida is not great for us, at least if the humidity is not in our favor. So, wait, we are in Miami, right? I think I just said that we are. Yes, we are in Miami. Sorry.
Our 2 away games. Our 2 away games are Loudon and Miami, and then the rest are home.
Yeah. Steve, you said a 3, and I was like, "Whoa!" But I was going to say a 4. So, like, I don't know why I was so far like, "Oh, that's crazy," because I'm at the point where I don't want to say that I've set myself up so that I won't be surprised if we don't make it, but I very much feel like the cards are not in our favor at this point. I still think we can do it. I would not be surprised if we do it, but I'm more concerned, which is crazy to say after 1 loss, but in reality, this has been the whole season. This is not just this 1 loss. Everything is built to this. So before we dive into actually like looking at the table and talking about all that, is there anything else about this game that you guys want to discuss?
Not this game. I want to follow up on what you're just saying, though.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it, Steve.
So in terms of points lost, and Josh started to talk about this at the beginning, points lost late in games. We've lost 8 points this game from either points that went from a win to a tie or a tie to a loss throughout this season in 5 different games, right? And so dropped 2 points on May 18th against North Carolina. We were winning and tied them in the 58th minute when they scored to level. We've lost 2 games from where we were tied, Monterey Bay and last night. And last night we could even say we lost 3 points because we were winning. But I want to just look at that at the 90 plus, right? We've had 4 games where in the 90th minute or later, we've given up a goal that has cost us points. Monterey Bay, Colorado Switchbacks, Indy, and Tampa Bay. And that to me feeds into what we were talking about earlier in terms of not being able to close out these games. But 6 points from 90 plus minutes is, game changing in the table. That puts us right up there in 5th place without having done anything different other than just closing out games.
Yeah, let's look at the table. So after last night's loss, the Hounds are currently outside of the playoff spot again. We're currently in 9th place with 35 points. This is why we were sort of saying that we're concerned, because we are off next week and everybody else has a chance to play. The problem is that a lot of those games that are being played are somewhat favorable for the teams that are playing them. We really only have one game that it's kind of like 2 teams that could potentially beat up on each other that are ahead of us. So we have Birmingham plays Miami, so you can almost guarantee that's probably another 3 points for Birmingham. Loudoun plays New Mexico, and that is after New Mexico plays Sacramento midweek. So New Mexico is going to be more focused on the Sacramento side because they need those points on the western side. Detroit plays Louisville, so hopefully, Louisville shows up for that one. Rhode Island plays Tulsa. Rhode Island could likely pick up points there. North Carolina plays Indy, so that's really like the one where there are sort of 2 teams that are kind of in and around us that they could have the chance to like beat up on each other. And then Hartford plays Oakland. So these are all teams that are right around us that are all going to be trying to pick up points. So I think, Steve, to your point, there's a very real possibility that if Hartford and North Carolina can pick up points this weekend, we're sitting in 11th going into, our last 5 games of the season, which is nuts to kind of say out loud. It just, after the run that we've been on, after all of that, it feels like a lot. Josh, what are your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, the games I feel like are the opponents that we should be really concentrating on. At this point, I don't think you should even care about what Detroit's doing. I don't see us catching up to them. Same thing with Tampa. So it's really Birmingham, Loudoun, Rhode Island, and Hartford that I feel like we have to like keep our eyes on those ones. And it's interesting to think that we're in 30, or we have 35 points right now. If we would have won that game, it would have jumped us all the way to 6th place from 9th place. So it's super close. The table is still close enough where one win, leapfrogs you pretty high up in the table. But us having this week off, the math is going to look a lot different. So those are the games I'm watching out for. I'm watching to see what Loudoun does, what Rhode Island does, what Hartford does. And those are the ones I care about.
And to one of your guys' points from earlier, we're even in a position where, yes, we still have to play Birmingham. Yes, we still have to play Loudoun. And I think a lot of the hope was that those would be like 6-point swings. We're in a position where Birmingham is already 3 points ahead of us, and they're going to play another game this weekend. We could get 3 points against them and still be 3 points behind them as we head down the stretch. So this is a situation where this is kind of why I'm feeling that 4, where it's just like, I really hope that we get in, but I also hope that, or I'm worried that the hole that we've dug has just become so advantageous to everyone else around us that it's going to be impossible for us to climb out. I don't want to be doom and gloom, but
yeah, one thing that gives me a little bit of hope is Rhode Island still has to play the Battery and they still have to play the Rowdies. I think those are 2 tough games. So like, it's not like they have a cakewalk in front of them. So, that's a situation where that's why I'm kind of more focused on Loudoun since we do play them, and Birmingham. So we do still play Loudoun, right? I got that right. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we do. Yeah. Steve, any sort of final thoughts on the standings before we just sort of look ahead to our next 5 games?
I don't want to look at them anymore.
Okay. Taking them down.
Can we, like, the last 10 games of the season, do what we do in the first 10 games of the season, not look at the table?
Just not talk about them?
What are you talking about? That's when I look at the table every single day and I start like doing math equations and looking beautiful mind and writing on the windows and trying to figure out where we're at and what could happen.
Yeah. So guys, we have it's obviously going to be difficult to sort of sit back and just wait and sort of see how the rest of these games play out. Obviously, this upcoming weekend, we have 5 games left. We have Birmingham at home, Miami away, Charleston at home, Loudoun away, El Paso at home. So only one game is against a Western Conference team, and it's the last game of the season at home. So that's one that you would hope that if we desperately need points, hopefully we can get some points. Unfortunately, it's not at the expense of anyone else in the East. But we have 4 games to hopefully take away points from other teams. We've said Miami, doesn't matter. Miami's not getting into the playoffs regardless. Charleston has already clinched a spot. So it's really the Birmingham and Loudoun games that are going to be the most important for us to make sure that we get wins. That said, out of those 5, Steve, you were saying you're not sure how many points and how much you really feel comfortable about things. None of these games are obviously a gimme, especially the Birmingham Loudoun ones, because they're going to be battling for a spot as well. So no matter how good you're playing, the whole game goes up a level. So out of these 5 games, if I told you that we end up with 10 points, A, would you take it? And B, do you think it'll be enough? Steve, I'll start with you.
I mean, I'm going to take all the points I can take. So, yes, I'll take 10 points. And that's consistent with what I've said for 2.5 months. 2 points a game, right? Like, we're just hovering below that. So give me 2 points a game for the rest of the season. Sure, I take that all day long. Is that enough? It really depends on where those points come and, right, so who we're taking points off of and what happens in those teams' other games, right? So if we get a draw against Birmingham and beat the other 3 teams except for Loudoun, I don't think that helps us, right? So maybe not. I don't know.
I keep pulling up the table. Yeah, Josh, I want your thoughts as well. Pulling up the table, even if we get 10 points right now, that would put us on 45 points, which would be just 3 above Detroit currently in 4th place. So,
I was going to say,
we're not catching Tampa, we're not catching Charleston, we're not catching Louisville, not even close. So where do you stand? If I offer you 10 points, are you taking it, and do you think it'll be enough?
No, it's not enough. We need. So let's see here. We need all the home games. If it's home and away type stuff, we need all the home games to be wins. We need. Since we dropped points with Tampa, I feel like we actually do need an away win as well. So like I'm looking at 12 right there, and then a draw, 13. Like that's. I feel like we have to go 13 points and then we're in. Like I don't feel like it's a situation where it's like, oh, maybe we won't. Maybe I'm sure mathematically there is a possibility we still don't get in, but I feel more safe with that and that we will get in. And that's going to be a tall order. That's a big ask. But El Paso's the bottom of the West. It's not like they're a great team, so that's a great. It's not great in the fact that we're not stealing points for someone, but it is a great game to end on. Because they'll be traveling, from the West, and they're not a great team. So I feel more confident about that game. Like I said, I do playing Loudoun and playing Miami still helps. Because I think even though Loudoun's above us in the standings right now, so it's funny to say that, I still feel like, there's a little bit of a mental thing there with the Hounds where they'll have the confidence going into that game more so.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Charleston game scares me. That's like one game where I'm like, I don't know, man. Like we really need them to show up for that game. That's the game where we're playing one of the better teams in the league. They've already locked for the playoffs and they're in second place in the East. So
yeah, I think what's interesting too, and I think we got to make sure we keep this in context. I think going into this Tampa game, we were all saying, like, no team scares us. Like, we could, if we were talking about these 5 games before this Tampa game happened, I think our level of confidence would be much higher. I think the problem is that seeing this team sort of revert back even just a little bit to the team before that is what's giving us pause. Josh, to your point, if we were to do the math and if you say, if we win all of our games at home, then really our 2 away games are Miami and Loudoun. So I think, Steve, back to your point a little bit, if we get a win in Loudoun, then that plays in our favor a little bit just in terms of taking points away from them. And I also feel a little bit more about getting a win in Miami. So we might realistically be in a situation where we might be better off if we're going to drop points. You're almost better off dropping points to like Charleston at home and winning the rest of them. So you end up with 12, or if you can draw Charleston at home, 13, as long as you win the rest of them. But again, I just, this is the part that I hate. Like, why are we in this situation? Come on, guys.
Because we didn't get a win in 11 games.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I mean, Miami is mathematically out of the playoffs. Like, they're eliminated. So I don't know what they are going to be mentally playing for as far as that goes, because it's definitely a situation where if you're looking at the record, they have very few wins at all, 3 wins the whole season. So I don't know. Like,
you mean to tell me that none of their players are going to try to do something spectacular to try to get a contract with Bob Lilly?
Ooh, I mean, look where we're at in the standings. Probably not.
Who's Cheetah playing for now? No, he's done with Miami. Never mind.
We already played Cheetah. Wait, didn't we just play against Cheetah?
He's out west, isn't he?
Oh, no, we didn't. I was thinking I watched Cheetah play. I can't remember what game that was.
I was saying El Paso might technically be eliminated by the time we play them too.
Yeah.
They're currently on 21 points. They're 10 points back from the playoff line in the West. They could go and run. They're also at a minus 18 goal differential, so I don't have high hopes for them clawing their way back in. So we have been given a bit of a gift in that in our last 5 games, we're playing the 2 worst teams in each division. But again, it's like, what is our confidence level to actually get it done?
As Liz just said, you're tempting the fates.
I know.
We play the 2 worst teams in the conferences, and then that's where we drop points. But no, I'm still sticking to my 6 out of 10 as far as my confidence level, because I do think there's a good road in front of us. It's just we actually have to, not drive off that road.
Listen, and again, as crazy as it sounds, I think even if we picked up 1 point this weekend, we would all be feeling a lot more confident, which is insane because it's just 1 point. But we're at the point where every point, every point counts. So, yeah.
But we also talked about it on Friday. I would not have expected everybody ahead of us to get the results that they got this weekend either. And so Cheetah, we already played him. We'll play him again. Forgot he's with Loudoun.
Oh, he's with Loudoun. That's right.
Yeah.
That's why I was watching that game, because it was important to watch.
Yeah.
Well, guys, any other thoughts in this one?
Man, it's a fast podcast.
Going off Bob Lilly's 2004 wild ride.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking for like 40 minutes, so it feels like it's been fast, but we're just
yeah, I think I'm
good.
You guys
got any plans for this weekend since there's no Hounds?
None. Sleep.
Yeah, I don't think I have any either.
I would say not stress about USL, but I know I'm just going to be watching all these other games and hate watching every single game.
I was impressed. So earlier today I was sitting down to watch just like random clips of the Premier League with my one son, and I went to Peacock and went into their sports section, and they list the different leagues, and the USL Super League was listed before the Premier League. And I was like, hey, how about that? So that's cool. And you can like click in, and there weren't any like special, highlight shows or anything like that about the Super League. You just basically watch recaps and replays of the game, which is great. But yeah, that I was like, good for them. So we'll see. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the Premier League, so I'm not gonna. Chime in at all.
I wasn't gonna bait you into that. Yeah, we'll avoid that with you. No worries. Yeah, so in terms of the schedule for shows and stuff this week, we'll sort of see what we put together. Obviously, there's no game this weekend, so we won't be doing a prediction show, and we won't do an insider show with an opponent. There might be an opportunity for some special shows. Maybe we'll try to do a pregame episode. Maybe we'll try to get 2 of those in before the next game. I've been meaning to talk to E2, as the announcers referred to him. It'd be nice to talk to Etu about his international duty. And I still want to get Berton on at some point. We had asked, and they're like, he kind of just got here. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. So
let him chill.
Let's see what we can. Yeah, let him cook a little bit, and then we'll let him talk to you. So yeah, if there's anything that you guys want to hear about, anything that you want us to discuss, feel free to send it our way, and we will absolutely try to put something together to talk about it. Otherwise, I think that's it for this one. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you listening and watching and subscribing. Our subscriber numbers on YouTube just keep going up, which is really kind of crazy. We really appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have this written down. So thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you very, very soon.
Later.
See ya.